welcome in. It's the All-22. The Blue Devils coming off a dominant win over North Carolina A&T over the weekend, 49-20. David Shoemate alongside Dave Harding. Got one of the captains with us this week, Dwayne Carter. Can't imagine why. We'll talk about the sack, fumble, touchdown return here in just a second. We're going to get the stopwatch out, maybe check the speed on the way in. I'm sure you've already looked at it, though. It's pretty sweet.
I was rolling. I didn't think I was rolling at first, but, we did the metrics. We went back in the and I was rolling.
A 49-20 win. Before we get to all that, we're going to talk about some of the stuff off the field a little bit later on, but congratulations, a member of the AFCA Good Works team. We got 2 on this set now. Pretty sweet. Yeah,
thank you. I'm honored to be in great company with Dave.
Oh, my gosh. Congrats, man.
Honored. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Dave, tell us a little about what goes into that award.
I mean, first of all, a lot of hard work off the field. I mean, it's truly, I think, the culmination of a lot of work behind the scenes. You've got to be a good football player also, but as we'll get into later, your involvement in the community goes into it, and it's a really cool thing where, talking about a community, you get a chance to meet guys from across the country, part of a really fun weekend that they throw for you down in New Orleans around the Sugar Bowl. Great time.
And I know you don't do it for the recognition, but imagine there has to be some satisfaction that other people notice what all you do in the community.
Yeah, no, obviously recognition feels good, but like you said, at the end of the day, you do it because it's bigger than you. So that's really what I do it for.
We're going to talk about off-the-field stuff a little bit later on, but let's get on the field. We won't spend a ton of time on North Carolina A&T, but you guys are 3-0, off to a great start this season. You come out, offense gets 2 touchdowns, defense gets a couple of stops, and then you go out for the series for North Carolina A&T, their 3rd series. You guys are already up 14-0. They start to move the football a little bit, and then Peoples comes through the middle, blows it up. I'll let you take it from there.
Oh, yeah, so Aeneas blows it up. I mean, our coaches, first off, they made a great play call. It kind of worked off. We kind of studied into what they were doing, and Aeneas kind of made the play, and I always say it was God. So, like, I guess he hit the quarterback, and the ball kind of bounced straight up right behind him, and I had, like, a light bulb moment, like, this is really about to happen. Like, I finally get my chance. You dream about this moment forever, a big man touchdown, and he kind of bounced straight up, and we practiced it every single day in practice, and I scooped and, let the speed take over.
Was there a thought process in that split second of, do you jump on it or do you pick it up? Like, how do you determine what your next step is going to be?
Yeah, so, the coaches will hate this, but, we have a clean and a dirty fumble, and I didn't think about any of it. The only thing I saw was touchdown.
Yeah.
Now, be honest, the other thing I wonder about, this is a glass half full, glass half empty moment. When you're running, what are you thinking about the celebration? Are you thinking, do not trip? Don't trip on the way. What's going through your mind in that look? Because there was nobody in front of you.
Yeah, there was nobody around. It's funny because, you can see on the clip, I keep looking over my shoulders, just expecting somebody, come from the edge, come from a receiver, come out of nowhere. And there was just nobody around. I was like, this is too good to be true. So the whole time I'm thinking, all right, I'm going to get in the end zone. I'm going to do a dance. I'm going to throw the ball, just do something outrageous. And then I finally got in the end zone. I was like, this is what this feels like.
It happened.
It's really crazy. Like, it really happened.
Is all of that going through your mind, honestly? Because the play happens in, 5 seconds maybe? But it's got to feel like an eternity when you're talking about all the things that go into it. Not just the play itself for there to be a fumble, but then everything that has to go through your mind between then and crossing the goal line.
Oh, yeah, no, 100%. I mean, like I said, when the ball bounced up towards me, it felt like I was staring at for an eternity. I was like, wow. All right, let's go. And I'm running, like you said, I'm thinking about everything going through, and the main objective was to score. I was like, nothing's going to stop me from scoring.
Was ball security a concern? Were you thinking high and tight?
So it's funny. You can see it at the beginning of the clip. I originally pick it up, and I did what we call an iron cross. So I took the ball, and I put my other arm over it kind of, and I was kind of running. And as soon as I peeked behind me, I'm like, there's nobody near me. I'm like, yeah, ball security out the window.
Loosen it up.
And, of course, I heard about it from the coaches, but
sure,
ball security wasn't an initial thought. It was.
I when you go and look at it on tape, I mean, obviously a lot goes into the play altogether, but my favorite part was the celebration. R.J. Open doing some kind of windmill. I don't know if he was trying to swim down the field or what, but what was the takeaway from the reaction of your teammates as you rumbled into the end zone?
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I mean, that was a win for all of us, and that's kind of a tribute to our culture, right? So, I mean, me scoring was like a win for the whole D-line. Because, even after the game, it was like, But like you scored, like even this was like you scored, like forgetting like he just had a whole strip sack, his first sack of the year. The main thing was like, bro, you scored. That's so crazy. You're so cool. So I mean, I just love the guys for it.
Do you buy it though? Because all of them are secretly saying, "Man, I wish that was me."
You know, they might be, but I'm gonna go off of what they told me.
You got to.
I know a lot of times the film room after game can be for corrections or what's coming next. Coach Simpson, did you guys get a chance to watch that play this week? Did they put in the cutout?
Yeah, so our coaches, I mean, once the week is over and we play the game, it's on the next opponent. So we got to play this morning in film, and it was kind of like, great play, Aeneas. We have a ball violator. He was like,
Oh, no.
He was like, we have a ball violator. Who's the violator in this play? And like whole time, like he pauses it, and like I'm right in front of the goal line, and the ball's like hanging down by my knee. Like as I cross the goal line, he's like, we have a violator. He's like, your return, but that's a violation. So
that is kind of cool though, because hopefully that happens to you again, and maybe the next time, although you do have blistering speed, maybe the rest of the offense is close by, and we can joke about it, but it's kind of cool that they're still, even in one of the best plays that you might ever have as a defensive lineman, because you get to score. There's a teaching moment in all of it.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, I just love the coaches for it. I mean, it just shows like they're strictly business and we're about winning. So on the next week and doing things that potentially hurt us in the long run, God forbid, but he's still gonna call me a violent. It's all right.
You're right. We were talking on the broadcast. You guys started so well, obviously, with the 21th lead. I was like, you think the coaches can find something? They found something.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
They'll always find something,
Every
right?
single time.
There's somebody out there that is going to get picked on, no matter what happens on the play.
Yes.
Just so happened to be the man himself as he runs into the end zone.
4 sacks in total for you guys on Saturday. I got 7 on the year, 8 forced fumbles. You got 6 of them. A bunch of those have been strip sacks. What are you seeing from the defensive line here early in the year? Franklin seems like he's had a huge start to the season. Peebles made a monster play there. What are you seeing from your guys?
Yeah, I mean, the guys are just hungry coming in, and we kind of knew it in because we put our foundation in the weight room. And it builds that hunger, that thirst, especially thinking about that bad taste that last year left in our mouth. So you come out this year, and our main emphasis is turnover. You hear about Coach Elko, Coach Smith. They talk about turnover margin. That's all we hear. And we practice turnover margin every single day. And, the team who usually wins the turnover battle usually wins the game. So that's the biggest emphasis for us. And, it's just cool to see it show up, like showing that we practice that hard and we practice this specific skill, even though it may become monotonous. It may become repetitive, and you're like, all right, this is ridiculous, but it's worth it.
How about the guys on the outside? We talked a little bit about RJ and the celebration, but he's had an impact on the game as well.
Yeah.
And you've got guys like Nelson and a true freshman and Anthony playing. What's the thought process or the overall takeaway for you as a team captain, as a senior, or as a leader of this team, when you look at what's taking place on the edge to kind of match what Shoemate just said with the statistics that have been showing up?
Yeah, so I mean, the guys first Anthony came in. That was a great addition. I mean, he kind of just fit right in with us. And VJ, I'm proud of him. He worked really hard. He came in with his goals that he had to accomplish, and he ended up being our starting guy. So through this far, he's been our starting guy. And then obviously, I think it's very obvious that we work really well together. It's like we have a lot of camaraderie and we rush together. We play together. Like we know each of us has a job, and a lot of times, like if we don't do our job, then somebody else can't do theirs, and ultimately it hurts the defense. So I mean, just going into each week, knowing the game plan and us knowing what they have to do, them knowing what we have to do, and then our coaches also working together as well. I mean, it just makes the biggest impact in how we can all rush together. We all achieve success.
As a defensive tackle, like when you know that a defensive end is dominating a game in a specific way, that's got to change your mindset of, okay, maybe, yeah, they're going to get their stats, but you've got an opportunity to wreak some havoc because the quarterback's going to be looking out for them or shifting up in the pocket. Is that true?
Yeah, no, it's very true. I mean, from a mindset standpoint, like, for instance, RJ doesn't lose very many one-on-one reps, and a lot of times he'll push the edge. So a lot of times the quarterback either has to step up or step out. So, for instance, changing my rush lane. So a lot of times if I know RJ just is allowed to cut loose and go, and I know most times through film where the quarterback's going to go, whether he steps up, whether he rolls out, I can just push my guy kind of back and kind of play off it. And, everybody see me get the sack, but what they don't know is kind of that was really RJ's sack. I just cleaned it up for him.
You're a 2-time captain. Doesn't happen very often here at Duke. So as a leader of the defense, I'm curious. Quarter of the way into the season, obviously it's gone well. You guys have won all 3 of the games. You look at last year, you guys gave up nearly 40 points a game. Right now it sits at 14. It's easy to look at the coaching change and things like that, but there's a lot of guys that were on this team a year ago. Obviously you were one of them. what has changed defensively for you guys? It feels like obviously some guys' bodies are a little bigger or maybe even
Yeah.
slimmer at different positions, but is the mentality different? What is it to you?
Yeah, so it's a mentality, and that's the biggest thing around the building, I guess, this year is it's a mentality, right? Obviously, Coach Philly, I mean, many people have had the chance to hear Coach Philly and meet Coach Philly and know the type of person he is, but he's consistent. He brings the same thing every single day, day in and day out, and that kind of translates onto the field because in practice, if you don't have good practice, you're not going to have a good game. And then putting in work in the film room, et cetera, it's just a whole mentality, and it's like a holistic view. So, like, we were able to just, I guess, wipe the slate clean, or wipe the slate clean, excuse me, and forget last
We're still
year.
working through the grind with Dave.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Time we get.
You're in good company here, buddy. I mean, I can hardly say anything.
Yeah, so we were able to wipe the slate clean from last year. And, I mean, I put a good clip. I think our video crew, they put a clip of Coach Philly before the first game. He's like, we're not last year. We're not year before that. We're not years before this. We are in the now, and that goes back to the grind.
How much, though, to piggyback off of that, the tackling just seems better. The hits seem harder. How much of it is a mentality versus what you're doing on the field at practice? Like, is there an actual X's and O's, like a tangible thing that you can point to the improvement in the defense?
Honestly, thinking about it, I've thought about this a lot. And we've had conversation in the locker room because it is different. It's obviously noticeable on the field. And I honestly think it just comes from the weight room. Like the way we train, the way we were kind of mentally trained as well.
Yeah.
Where it's like somebody's got to pay for all this work we're doing. Like we're not out here running sprints on the track for no reason. We're not running 110s for no reason. We're not running gassers every day for no reason. We're not squatting 1,000 pounds for no reason. It's just somebody's got to pay for the work we do, and our success is intrinsically driven. Because at the end of the day, you can't rely on an opponent to bring you juice. You can't rely on an away stadium to bring you juice. If you're not intrinsically motivated and playing for your teammates, then you won't have much success.
I love it. Pay for the work that you do. I really like that. So you take it out, and you want the other team to pay for
So
all
you
the
gotta
effort,
pay
you guys.
for it,
That's
yes.
really neat. Yeah.
It's a pretty big opportunity at Kansas this week, and we'll talk about that in a second. But we promised we were going to talk about off the field. We talked about the Good Works team. I'm going to run through some of this stuff that you're involved in or have been involved in. You're a member of Duke's Student Athlete Advisory Committee, Public Relations Chair of the Duke United Black Athletes Organization. You're involved in your fraternity as a vice president. You're a tutor, Little League coach, played some baseball in high school as well. Member of the NCAA Football Oversight Committee, Student Athlete Connection Group last year. You represented Duke at the Black Student Athlete Summit in Houston, Texas this summer. I don't know how you find the time for one, but obviously it's important for you to have a well-rounded experience here at Duke. Forget Duke, in life. Why is all of that so important to you?
Yeah, so honestly, it starts with my foundation at home. So ever since I was raised, my mom always told me the ball's going to stop bouncing one time. You got to have plan B. So that's why academics are so important. So I was a kid who was like, not allowed outside until your homework was done. And if it didn't get done and you were struggling with it, you're going to wait till somebody can help you before you can, go outside and play. And ever since then, I've been like just trained to take academics so seriously. And then outside of academics, I mean community engagement, right? So my parents growing up, they both worked at a charter school in inner city Columbus. So it was like an after-school program for kids who went to school in the inner city. And that was kind of like their second tutoring place. A lot of them did GED programs. They just did so many things for kids, like taking them to camps and different things like that. That's just what I was exposed to. So it's kind of like the nurture aspect where I saw my parents and what they value. And obviously being raised by my parents in a household, it kind of translated to me and my sister. So
There's got to be some element of the nature part to that side, and the fact that you're a gregarious person. You have a pull to you. You're fun to be around, but you have clearly made an impact in a lot of these things. I was talking to Alasia Campbell with Uba, we're having a conversation about something, and you come up 3 or 4 times, and clearly, I mean, you're impactful in what you do around campus. Is outside of it being part of the nurture where they've ingrained that in you. What do you enjoy about being part of all of these things? You're reaping the reward. We're here talking about it, but there's got to be something that motivates you within that to grind through the fatigue and the academics and everything else, and put your time into other things.
yeah, so I genuinely believe at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter whatever you did in your life, but it matters how you made people feel. And actually, Coach Cutcliffe, you say it to us all the time, and I believe that even before I got here. It's just, how do you impact people? What are you leaving when you leave the world? You kids or whatever. But at the end of the day, what do other people see about you? What do other people remember how you made them feel? And what could you do to impact other people who may be less fortunate than you or, just not have the same opportunity as you? And I realize I'm very blessed. I'm very privileged to be where I'm at. I grew up in a two-parent household as a black kid in America, which is not very common. Two parents who with very good jobs growing up. I didn't really have to want for anything. But at the same time, like, my parents made me know the value of work. They never, I was spoiled, of course, but that was more about my grandparents. I got shot at my nana. That's my nana. Other than that, it's just like, at the end of the day, what is my impact going to be when I leave this earth? And that's really how I feel.
Hearing you talk about this, you clearly have so much perspective, which I would imagine makes you a good leader, a two-time captain here. How much does it help you in conversations with the guys when, I'm sure when you're new to college, football can seem overwhelming by itself, and then you throw on the academics. The chance to peel out of it and get out of those two altogether and do some other stuff with the community, how much does it make you, organize your life, put things in perspective about what's important, and maybe help some younger guys who might be struggling with that?
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, it's always cool to see the freshmen come in because I remember when I was that freshman, and I always shout out Brandon Hill, who kind of jump-started me in terms of, black athletes. He kind of drugged me in and told me, look, this is what you're going to do because I see this in you. And I didn't really have a choice, and I was like, man, this is cool. Like, I meet some cool people, whatever.
Yeah.
And look what it turned into. So I try to be that bridge builder for those other guys, younger guys. Like, we just had actually our first UB event last night, and we had about 5 or 6 freshmen show up. And I was kind of the event where I kind of sat back and just saw who would kind of, really be willing to show up without me kind of like pushing. And we had a couple guys show up, and it's just cool to see that go because, an older guy, I'm on my way out of here. I'm on my last couple years here, and it's just thinking about, like, what can I do to make sure this doesn't stop? Because at the end of the day, I want to be able to come back here and see that not only is it keep going, but it's grown, it's flourished. And the programs that we started here, the programs that I joined here just keep flourishing and keep making an impact on a bigger scale.
Before we get into some rapid-fire stuff, just a quick thought on the matchup this weekend in Kansas. Both teams are 3-0. Only 33 unbeatens remain in the country. But it's also your guys' last non-conference game before you jump into league play against Virginia the following weekend here at home under the lights. How important is it? Every game's important, right? You're living in the now. But also to close out non-conference play, but to set the tone for what you guys are looking ahead to in the ACC.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I mean, like Coach Echo says all the time, it's about the now. And I'm kind of conditioned now. But at the end of the day, it is about the now.
He's listening.
He is.
Always.
Yeah.
As it's about opponent, and Kansas is a great opponent. We're similar in the sense they didn't have a very good year last year. Kind of rebuilding year, they came out and showed their pretty good program. So, they run the ball really well. They score a lot of points. And they seem like they have a lot of confidence going in. They don't really freak out in games so far. So, we have a very good opponent. It's just keep laying the foundation for who we are because at the end of the day, it's about us.
What do you like on the field? I mean, before we get into this rapid fire, like, are you as nice as this? It doesn't seem like an offensive lineman would come away saying they enjoyed a conversation with you. Do you talk a little trash, or are you like very business oriented? And
I like to say I don't speak until I'm provoked.
On
the field is what I like to go by. And then me on the field and me and outside of football is two different people.
Yeah.
And it's you can kind of tell, especially because I'm more vocal more often than not. And I say some things I probably shouldn't, knowing my mom's right behind me.
That's all right.
But, that's just part of the game.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's kind of my alter ego, but I'm not the same person.
I love it. We could talk about this for a
let
long time.
Yeah. Who on the field, generally speaking, I imagine I'm going to get two different answers here, is provoking? Is it the offensive lineman or who starts it most of the time?
You're trying to start. You're provoking something right here.
I'm telling you, it's funny. A lot of times it's not even the O-line first. It'll be like some little running back or something. I just do something.
It's always the problem.
Like the O-line, of course, but like we don't talk much. A lot of times we're breathing harder than everybody else.
Yeah.
So like it'll be like a skill position. They'll come through and just do something just so extra. You're like, what are you doing? And then everybody gets involved. So
You got to conserve your energy, especially at, like if it's a friendly fire out in camp. Like, man, you can't mess around with that.
Exactly.
In a game, maybe you've got a little bit more fuel in the tank.
All right.
That's
Let's jump into the rapid fire, get to know you a little bit. I know you're big on social media. Mom is as well. I'm sure there's others in the family, but who's got the most active maybe, or maybe just the best social media game?
Yeah, as far as most active and consistent, that is my mother. My mom will be on social media. She's full-time job, everything else. But as soon as Duke football posts something, she might be the first one to comment, first one to like, and she has her thing she does. She says, I spy. Like, you could see my shoulder tip in the video. But best believe she's going to notice when her baby's in that video.
I see your finger in there. That's hilarious. Who's got the best nickname on the team? There's a lot of good ones.
We have a lot of good nicknames on this team, but it's kind of funny. So Elijah Roten, he is a big sweater, big lineman guy. So it started a couple years ago. We started calling him Big Lather.
Oh, no.
It's brutal.
So we call him Big Lather, and that one kind of sticks. And that's kind of my favorite one.
Does he like it, or?
Elijah, he's an easygoing, goes with the flow type of guy. So
I say,
You want to give your nickname for when you play?
well, as guys that sweat a lot, I mean, you kind of have to embrace it, right? I mean, Big Lather, that's an admirable thing.
You want to give your nickname?
I was Dirty Dave. Yeah. That's why I
Back to our
asked.
conversation.
That's why I
We
asked about the
started
trash
stuff,
talk.
I figured I'd throw that out there.
Yeah. So next one.
When you guys are going on the road in football, what's your favorite part of a road trip?
I say my favorite part of the road trip is flying. Honestly, getting to the airport, I still kind of haven't got over that part because my first road trip ever here at Duke was when we went down to play Bama at the Dome. So, that was, over the top flying. We put up on the runway, all these signs, ESPN cameras, and, ever since then, that's just been my favorite part. It's been very cool.
Do you have a hidden talent?
Hidden talent? I don't, actually.
I mean,
No, I don't.
yeah.
Juggling, singing.
I can juggle.
Oh, that counts.
He juggles his workload
can juggle.
and class.
I learned how to juggle because of baseball.
Oh.
Our
What was the
coach
story
tasked
there?
us one time, and I'm a competitor. I'm an athlete, and I determined I was going to be the best juggler. So I learned how to juggle.
How many baseballs could you get going?
I've only ever tried 3. I never went over because I was really consistent with 3. I still do it, but 3.
That's
my
cool.
max.
That is a hidden talent. Wow, shoot, mate, you just had a sense for that, didn't you?
Good call.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to dig a little
Wow.
deeper. What's your favorite uniform combo?
Oh, my favorite new uniform combo's got to be the black jersey, black pants with the blue helmet. That's my favorite one. A lot of people like to go all black with the black helmet. I think the blue helmet just looks like the best.
Number one song on the pregame playlist.
It's funny. I'm not a big music guy before games. I'm really not. So I don't really I'm the guy in the locker room. I'll be just like this before the game. But as soon as we hit the tunnel, something just flips and I turn into my alter ego, I guess you can call it. But I guess on the bus on the way to walk in the stadium. So I started listening to a lot of gospel music.
Okay.
And I think that's the thing that just started this year. Because we'll have our chapel sessions kind of put me in the mode. And I turn on gospel music on the bus ride to the stadium, and then we get to the stadium and I do my thing.
It works. You said Guy got involved in the fumble recovery for the touchdown. So
Yeah.
you got to pay it forward. Last place you went on vacation?
So I went to Miami Beach. That was the last place I went. I went a lot of places this summer, but Miami Beach was my last one.
Favorite meal?
I'm a big food guy. So favorite meal.
You're in good company.
A tough one. So are we talking favorite meal just in general? Or
Yeah. If you could have one dinner.
I will always never go wrong with steak and potatoes. Whether it's regular potatoes. Or
Like
french
mashed
fries.
potatoes or?
I say it's big. So in my house, we had a lot of steak, chicken, and french fries.
Okay.
And that's why I think I got so big.
Is there a particular
you-
cut you like?
So I typically lean towards New York strip.
Okay.
But recently I've been going with a lot of ribeye.
I'm a ribeye guy. Get some good
Marbling.
marbling in there. Strips a little lean.
Get
What
that
a-
thing cooked medium well, you're good to go.
Oh, right. Yeah, exactly. You like yours like beef jerky coming out of the
Look,
kitchen.
I can go
It's
medium
disgusting.
well. I'm with you. I can go medium well.
What about the fries? Are you dipping it into ranch, ketchup, mayo, anything?
So I go ketchup eventually sometimes.
Okay.
But a lot of times, especially if I get french fries, I tend to use a steak sauce too.
Oh,
A1
yeah.
on anything.
Kind of sop it up.
As long
Yeah.
as you didn't say mayo, we're good to go.
Threw
No,
that in there for you,
Could be
David.
not on anything.
Shoemate can't do mayo.
No, not at all.
Or and ranch for that matter. It's sad.
No.
Really?
But blue cheese is okay. which
It
I
makes
know
no
is
sense. This
counter-
is like Riley Leonard. I'll eat pizza, but not no cheese
Yeah,
category.
Riley has an eating problem.
It doesn't make
We
sense.
discussed that.
Yeah.
A couple more. We've talked about lack of music, maybe a little gospel music. Any superstitions on game day? Anything you like to do before you hit the field?
I do the same thing and drink the same thing every pregame. So I drink Pedialyte before every game. So a lot of times I wake up in the hotel, depending on if it's noon or 7:30, depending on when I start drinking my Pedialyte. So I try to open it within the same time frame, right before pregame meal. So I'll drink a little bit to it, probably a quarter to a half of it before pregame meal. We'll eat, and then I get on the bus and I'll kind of finish it in the locker room, and then everything else in my routine. So
What's something that has surprised you about Coach Elko?
it's still to this day, it's a sense of humor. It's so funny because coming in, like, you know, you got to establish, like, set the tone for who you are and, like, all serious in this press conference. I'm looking like, all right, yeah, this guy means business. Like, of course, he still means business, but like, he is hilarious. Like, he just loves a joke, and he'll crack jokes on you all the time. Like, you'll walk into the meeting at 6 in the morning and just crack a joke on you. You'll be like, half asleep, like, is this guy serious?
Did that just happen?
But it's so funny. It still surprises me to this day.
Oh, that's good stuff. Appreciate you coming on. Before you go, we're going to play a game we've been playing with everybody. We told you about beforehand. I think those who have watched by now know the rules. Basically, off the game password, Dave's going to give you some clues. You can guess. You got about 2 minutes. We're going to pick a category. A high water mark was set a week ago by Jordan Waters. He got all 10 in the Duke football category.
The categories are food, shocker, Duke football, and famous athletes. Oh,
So
and
we're not biased. You get to spin.
and college football mascots.
College football. All right. Let me spin the wheel.
All right. That was a good spin.
Oh, that's money. Ooh.
Mascots.
Oh.
That's going to get Duke.
This is the first time we've seen the mascots. Okay, college football
Dave's
mascots.
really good at this, so you should be fine.
I hate this game. You can tell because I'm already nervous. I'm already going to skip to the next. Do I have to start with the card that's in my hand? I can
You're
skip.
saving that for later.
I've
Wayne
got.
feels great.
I've
right
got to
now.
think about it.
One-word clues. Remember, you can pass and come back to it. So if you don't want to spend a lot of time on one, you ready?
Yes.
And remember the category is
College football mascots.
go.
Northwestern.
Wildcat.
All right. UNC.
Tario?
This
Niner.
this is really bad. Can we go next? All right. Say next.
Next.
Auburn.
Tiger.
Texas.
Longhorn.
North Dakota State.
Bison.
Oh, that was numerous words. North Dakota
It's
State.
off the rails. Just keep going.
Yep.
Shoot. Jimbo.
Aggie.
Dak.
What is Mississippi State? Bulldog. No. What are they? Mississippi State. What are they? I know this.
Let's go next.
The next.
Philadelphia.
Eagle.
This one is terrible. What's that? What? Stop distracting me. Oregon State. Oh,
Beaver.
that's 2 words.
Beavers.
I'm
Yep.
really off the rails.
That's 9, baby.
Are we done?
No, you got another 30 seconds. You
Um,
want this to be?
Seven, 8.
son of a gun. Dallas.
Cowboys.
There we go. That was the Dak one. Okay, this is
Oh, that makes sense.
Bird.
Falcon. No. Who's a bird in college? Yeah, I'm not going to lie, pass. I don't know that one.
20 seconds.
And this one, let's go with wow. I'm really screwing you up. What about
Time.
okay. I
Okay,
really
8.
messed up.
What was the last one?
So we had Ospreys. I don't really know how to.
don't know.
How do you take?
What's that?
Who are the Ospreys?
I have no idea.
Isn't it Florida Gulf Coast?
Oh, I don't even know how. That's multiple words, which I
Multiple
broke
words.
that rule several times today.
North Dakota State.
North Dakota. That was my bad. And then Rams. I went with Tar Heels just because of Ramses. I should have gone with
Aaron Donald.
Aaron. Well, that I was thinking
That's 2.
right.
Donald.
Would you have gotten that off of
LA.
Donna? That's
LA.
2. I thought about saying LA
Now
also.
we're worried about the rules.
Well, I had broken the rules so many times. I thought I should have said.
do LA.
You know what I should
North
have?
Dakota State though.
I should have said
Stafford.
Stafford. Would you have
Stafford,
gotten
that
that
would
one?
work, too.
That's
That's Colorado State. Is the Rams right?
yeah. Well, even
think
then
so.
we would have been in trouble because that's 2 words. That's the thing. The schools messed me up.
Yeah.
That's why Texas A&M. I caught myself and just went with Jimbo.
Jimbo.
So I failed you. You did a great
The
job.
Ospreys were
I
always going to
appreciate
be hard. You can't have them all be easy.
Ospreys was the first word that that's why I started shaking in my boots, because I saw Ospreys first. I'm like, this is not going to be good. I'm impressed. You overcame adversity and really bad teammate. So
I appreciate it.
good work.
That's good. Dwayne, appreciate you coming on.
Thank you, guys.
Good luck the rest of the season.